Howdy everybody, this is B Junior from B Junior's Movie Cave on the Endurance Productions YouTube channel. These are my hands. Yes, I'm not on camera today and I apologize. I look like warmed up poop. So we're just going to do the old table review today. Now, what we're going to talk about today is a little known, little watched Tobe Hooper newfound favorite of mine. Now, Tobe Hooper is a director for me. It's sort of like Wes Craven. He's kind of hit and miss. He's made a lot of good stuff and he's made a lot of crap, in my opinion. And a lot of people feel the same way, and I don't know. It's just one of those directors where when he's on his game, he made a good flick. When he's not on his game or had studio involvement or studio interference, the flick isn't so great. But whenever you hear Tobe Hooper, you of course probably first think about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's his classic of the the last decade, hands down a classic. You might even think about Salem's Lot TV movie, or the miniseries, whatever you want to call it. Poltergeist, and even maybe The Funhouse, one of my favorite little known ones of his. But what we're going to talk about today is one that I hate to even admit. First time I viewed it was today. This movie is, I think, his sophomore effort after the release of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, made in 1976, if I'm not mistaken. It was released a couple years back on Dark Sky 2-disc special edition, probably around 07, 08, and at that time it was way too expensive and I could never find a good deal on it. And then I thought it went out of print for a while, but somehow, some way, there's a bunch of cheap copies of this on Amazon right now, and I picked it up for cheap recently for about $5 shipped. I owe the credit to my buddy of mine on YouTube, Pizowell. He bought this recently and it sparked my interest again, and I went and found it on Amazon. A little over, I think, $5 and some change shipped. It is, of course, Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive. Now, how can you not like a film that has cover art like that? Wild backwoods dude with a big hay sickle, from the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Total cash in there. It is a Dark Sky Films release, 2-disc special edition of Eaten Alive. As I said before, I think it was his second film, the one that he did right after Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And what I want to talk to you about today is not only the 2-disc special edition. I have viewed the film prior to this reviewage today. I want to talk about the pros and cons of this film. I'm going to go ahead and say, I found myself, oddly enough, enjoying this film. A lot of people crap on this movie. They don't like this movie. They think it's just one of those that needs to remain forgotten. Me, I beg to differ. I'm not one that really jumps in with both feet every time and like gives a movie a pass or says it's the best movie ever or anything like that. I like to watch it. I like to view the special features. I like to hear from the director, whoever, anybody involved with the making of the movie in terms of special features, so I can get a better, well-rounded review together for it. What it basically is, now there's going to be spoilers in this review, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, come back, watch this later. But here we go. Basically, the story of Eaten Alive is about this main fella here on the cover, Old Judd. Old Judd runs the Starlight Motel. It's down the road from Hattie's brothel, or whorehouse, whichever way you want to go about it. And that's your two main locations in the movie. That and I think there's a little bar and grill, and then a sheriff's department in this one. But it's very small scale, low budget movie, as you can imagine. But a little bit more money's behind the project. You can tell there's some more production value in this movie in terms of special effects, things of that nature, as opposed to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, let me go ahead and say, before we get too in-depth on this movie in no way, shape, or form is on the level of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is not as good. I'll go ahead and say that. But the film, oddly enough, surprised me. I didn't expect a whole lot from Eaten Alive, but I really enjoyed the overall experience. Now, the pros to the movie is, it's got a decent cast in it. The guy that played Old Judd is genuinely creepy. He does creep you out a bit. It does have an early appearance from one Robert Englund, who you know from later roles of Freddy Krueger, V, and some other films that he done later on. But he made himself a household name as Freddy Krueger. He shows up in a pretty prominent role in this one as Old Buck. And Old Buck is at the beginning of the movie, and he has a real catchy line to start the film off, and I'm not going to repeat it because I don't want to ruin it, but Old Buck is kind of in cahoots with Old Judd there, but not really. He's kind of like a local that kind of hangs around and kind of, I think he was an integral part in getting Old Judd his crocodile. See what it is, Old Judd is a proprietor of the Starlight Motel. He has an old crocodile that he supposedly imported from Africa that's living out in the pond right next, literally right next to the porch on the hotel. And Old Judd has some problems. He has issues. He's not all with it, guys. He basically, anybody that he doesn't approve of, he'll kind of maim them or take them out with his hay sickle or any object he can find, basically, and feeds them to the crocodile. That in turn, that is really the plot of the film. Now, how can you not like that? I mean, that's a plot of a film that I can watch countless times. This is going to be one that it's going to be one of those go-to movies. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's probably one of those I'll watch over and over again because it's so out there. It's very bizarre atmosphere. It's got lighting, much like a lot of Argento films. It's a lot of heavy reds and blues and greens and yellows in the lighting scheme of the movie. I don't know if Tobe at the time was trying to get more artistic or anything of that nature, but I gotta say, Eaten Alive was definitely a trip that if you like good Tobe Hooper films, the best way to say it, if you like good Tobe Hooper films, you probably want to at least give this one at least a spin, at least one time. See if you can find it on Netflix, rent it, find a buddy that's got it, watch it, draw your own conclusion at that point. The rest of the film kind of is about all the locals that have stayed in the hotel or that Judd's got tied up, and all the shenanigans ensue after that, after the initial moment with a family that lands there, there's another subplot about a prostitute from Hattie's brothel up the street that gets fed to the crocodile. Her father, I believe, shows up with her sister looking for her, and they're part of the crocodile prey later in the movie there. And it's just about a bunch of madness beyond that point. Old Judd is kind of taking people out left and right with his hay sickle and feeding them to the crocodile. Also, there's a subplot with the girl that was with the original family that showed up at the motel. She's hiding out underneath the house, kind of a la People Under the Stairs kind of deal, where she's kind of hiding out from the crocodile, and it's about her trying to survive too. And old Buck shows up later in the film, and well, that's about all I want to say about the story, because it's not a real heavy, in-depth plot or anything like that. It's just about a crazy man at a motel that nobody really seems to think is crazy, but he feeds everybody to his crocodile. So it's just bizarre. It's really out there. Now, the cons of the film. What really hurts this film is two main cons. Okay, the one main con that comes to mind is it doesn't know which way it wants to go. It doesn't know if it wants to be a slasher movie, a creature feature, or an all-out madness craze fest like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So it's pulling about three different directions at all times, and I think that's one of the main things that hurts this film. The second thing that hurts it is there's a couple of main parallels that it's too close to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The character of Old Judd here on the cover, he's kind of a mixture, 50-50 mixture of the hitchhiker and the old man from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, where he's just crazy one minute, soft-spoken the next, and just off his rocker, and then he starts acting like the hitchhiker, real just giggling all the time and real wild, Another main con of the film in that respect is the characterizations. Is they got Marilyn Burns back in this one, who was the main survivor girl from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, playing basically the same type of character in peril as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, except in this one she's a mom, but she's still got the same hairdo, and she spends a lot of the movie tied up and and in a crazed state where she's screaming her head off. So that's the main cons of the film, is that it's a little too close to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in some parts, but overall it's not a bad film. Think The Funhouse meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and there's Eaten Alive with a big old crocodile thrown in there, creature feature segments. And a word on the crocodile: when they don't show the crocodile a lot, a la Jaws, it's very, very effective. But towards the end of the film, of course, they wanted to show the monster, I guess. Well, the parts where they really, really show the crocodile, they show him a little too long, a couple seconds here, a couple seconds too long there. I don't want to nitpick it. Whenever they keep the camera on the crocodile too much, it's a little too much for its own good. It looks like a rubber crocodile. I mean, it looks rubber. So, anyway, guys, don't want to overanalyze it. Just don't think about it too much. And guys, this one was really cheap. This one was brand new, a little over $5 shipped, 2-disc special edition from Dark Sky Films. Let's get into it. I'll show you a little bit of the discs here. There is the, let's see, get in here where I can show it to you real good. Let's see, there you go, disc 1, Eaten Alive. How can you, I mean, I love that disc art there. Check that out. Also, the special features disc. We'll get more into that in here in a second. There's a good little cover art too. Let's take these out. Like the other Dark Sky box releases, they have some behind the cover art here, behind the disc art. How can you not like that? I mean, look at that giant haysickle, girl with her buttocks out there hanging onto a tree. You know, how can you not like that? Check that out. Anyway, guys, look, got a little booklet there, the little catalog that comes with it. That's a 06 catalog. I don't know how many of those are still in print, but, you know, go figure. Let's put the disc back in. We'll go over the special features real quick. Disc 1 is sporting a 1851 anamorphic widescreen feature, which does look, and I have to say, in its defense, it is a bit speckled here and there, but for its age and low budget nature, Dark Sky did a real good job cleaning up this transfer. It looks really good. Audio commentary with producer Marty Rustum, actors Roberta Collins, William Finley, and Kyle Richards, makeup artist Craig Reardon, English subtitles, still gallery. Disc 2 has some good special features on it. The Gator creator, Tobe Hooper. My Name is Buck, Robert Englund. The Butcher of Elmendorf, Legend of Joe Ball. 5 Minutes with Marilyn Burns, theatrical trailers, TV and radio spots, behind-the-scenes slideshow, alternate credits and title sequences, comment cards. Guys, this has been your rundown on Dark Sky Films' 2-disc special edition of Eaten Alive, the sophomore effort from Tobe Hooper that has been kind of locked away in the vaults for a long time. And a lot of people may already have this 2-discer, but I say get it now, guys, because now is the right time to strike. It's been out for about 4 or 5 years now, and if you can find a cheap DVD, you know, 2-discer of this on Amazon, I say go for it. For $5, can't go wrong. Rock on, dudes. I'll catch you next time. Leave your comments, questions, concerns about Eaten Alive, and we'll enjoy all the great conversations about this Tobe Hooper long-lost gem. Or I wouldn't call it a gem. It's a long-lost turd of a gem. I'll call it that, yeah. Anyway, rock on. And remember, that old crocodile, he'll eat anything.